Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic Yerba brands of Argentina, Playadito, as the porteños from Buenos Aires would say. So whether you're a seasoned mate drinker or curious about its rise to the top, we'll unpack everything from its historical roots to how it is made, what people think of it, what the taste and the quality is like, and how it became the number one selling Yerba in Argentina in 2025. Welcome back. This is Mateina, your show in which we talk about mate, Yerbas, and the mate culture in general and everything that belongs to it. I'm your host, Thomas, and I'm very pleased that you're here with me and that I am here with you too. So many people are listening to this podcast already. Spread the word. We want to expand our wings. We want to expand our community. This is my goal. I want to build a big community around Yerba Mate. I come from a country where I did not grow up with Yerba Mate. It took me a while to be exact, about 30 years to discover it. But now I could not imagine myself living without it anymore. I make my Yerba every morning. And today I am also sipping on a Playadito Yerba. And that reminds me, like we always do, we start the show with a sip of Yerba. So my friends, take a sip, lean back, relax, buckle up. We have a jam-packed episode today. Yerba of the Week review is what we're going to start with, and that's Playadito. And to understand Playadito, we just have to go back a little bit more, just a little bit more to 1926, to be exact. And almost on, today is March 4th, so a few days ago and a few years in addition to that, in February 1926, the Cooperativa Agrícola de la Colonia Liebig was established. And this is why we're talking about Yerba Mate today, because it was founded in 1926, on February 1926, by a group of European immigrants, like so many other Yerbas. Yeah, Europeans, interestingly, when they came to Argentina, a lot of them started working in the agricultural field and focused on Yerba Mate. And so did some German, Ukrainian, and Polish settlers that made their way to Colonia Liebig in the province of Corrientes, Argentina. As you know, it's the northeastern part of Argentina, where there were a lot of farmers and they were seeking a new life after the economical disaster that Europe was going through after World War II. And they established the aforementioned Cooperativa Agrícola de la Colonia Liebig, LTDA. Initially, however, the Cooperativa was not focused on Yerba Mate alone. It was a multi-crop agricultural venture. They were producing everything from rice, corn, Yerba Mate leaves, livestock, honey, and much more. However, over time, Yerba Mate became central to their identity. And thankfully, they focused on that because Playadito is a very delicious mate. I hope you're already sipping on one. Interestingly, the name Playadito didn't show up until later, however. It is named after a small flat terrain in the region known locally as Playadito or Playadito, reflecting the rural charm where the first Yerba processing mill was established. Playadito's production started where the Yerba grew, in the fertile subtropical forests of northern Argentina. The Yerba Mate plant, you already know what it's called, Ilex paraguayensis, thrives in that environment with ample rainfall and rich soil. So they started planting their first seeds, then they had the nursery phase, which normally begins in March, April, when the seeds are carefully selected. And then they grow up until around 20 centimeters before they transplant them to the fields. Then the maturing time takes anywhere between 6 to 10 years in the field before reaching full productivity maturity. So that's very important. It takes years until the plant can be harvested. And then, the harvesting, the season is normally from December throughout September, either by hand or using machinery. A lot of companies still do it by hand. It's tedious, it's hard labor. You need a lot of people for that, but the product is worth it. And after the harvesting, the drying, the canchado starts. So after you harvest it, leaves go through a 3-stage drying process that removes the moisture down to below like 5%. This is key for flavor development and preservation. And then the next stage is the aging stage. The dried mate called canchada spends about 9 to 24 months, so up to 2 years in covered warehouses. And this step is crucial because it allows the yerba to really develop its different aromas, the smoothness, and the characteristics that you taste when you put it in your gourd. So never forget that when you go to a store and you buy your yerba mate, just imagine how long the entire process takes until it reaches you, until it is put in that bag. In case Playadito, they have a red bag, which is the stronger one, and then they have the yellow packaging, which is the smoother one, but we're getting there in a little bit. So never forget that it takes years until a plant can be harvested, and then it still takes 9 to 24 months to up to 2 years until the yerba develops its aromas, the smoothness, and all the characteristic taste notes. And then it's still not done, because only after this long aging process, the harvesting, the growing, the harvesting, the aging process, often more than a year, does the yerba get milled, blended, and packaged. So you still have to go through all the leaves and find the right ones and put them in the packaging. And this requires patience. And that is the thing that sets Playadito apart, because many cheaper brands skip or shorten that aging process. And then you taste the lack of quality. So talked about quality. Playadito, it takes a long time until you can really start with the packaging process. And then you have the quality checks. But then you also have the quantity and the output. So let's look at the production scale of Playadito. What they daily, annually, monthly put out. And according to product literature and industry data that I could find, Playadito yearly's output. So every year they put out around 35 to 36 million kilograms of processed yerba mate. Well, that's a serious production scale, right? Especially for a cooperativa. So, hence the yerba that was number 1 in terms of sales last year in 2025. And that figure isn't just domestic figure. While most goes to Argentinian market, Playadito also exports to more than a dozen countries, including China, Germany, Australia, Spain, the US, and also to Austria, to my store, for example, somosmateina.com. Just a friendly reminder, if you ever need yerba, we ship throughout the entire European Union. We also ship to the US and all over the world. So if you need yerba, if you need Playadito, we've got you covered. Go on our website, somosmateina.com, somosmateina.com, that's one word, and order your yerba. We also have gourds, we also have accessories, we have everything you need to start your mate journey or to enhance your collection. All our gourds are handmade in Argentina. They are imported from Argentina. Go check us out. I would love to send you some good yerba. some exclusive gourds, or premium bombichas. Yes, Playadito sends all over the world. And the cooperativa model itself contributes to the consistency because Playadito is owned by about 100 producer members. So it's not just one, it's 100 producer members. And there is alignment on quality standards from the field all the way to the packaging so that you always get the same quality with every single package of Playadito. And the long aging also creates a very smooth and balanced flavor. Talking about flavors, which many customers describe as less bitter and more rounded compared to harsher, more astringent yerbas. But let's stick to the sales and marketing. In 2025, Playadito achieved something remarkable, as we've already given away in the beginning of the show. For the first time in over 40 years, it became the top-selling yerba mate brand in Argentina, surpassing the historic leader, Taragüi, which belongs to Las Marías. Let's look at the sales a little bit because that's something that is very interesting from a business perspective. Playadito sold 22. Let's rewind. Playadito has a market share of 22.2% of the total market, and we're talking about 2025. 22.2% of the total market share. Whereas Las Marías, all the mates that belong to that combined, had, and I'm air quoting it, only 18.4% of the share. And now let's talk about kilograms. That makes it, the 18.4% of the Las Marías share makes it 4 million kilograms. 4 million kilograms. Versus Playadito, remember the 22.2% of the market share, almost 4.9 million kilograms sold. And that's according to the National Institute of Yerba Mate. That really exists. Official data collected by the National Institute of Yerba Mate. Check it out. It's very interesting what you find there. And this shift was not just symbolic, it changed the narrative about who dominates the yerba market or dominated it in 2025 in Argentina. And the product that's ubiquitous in households and cultural life. This shift wasn't just symbolic, it really changed the narrative of yerba mate, because Las Marías is an institution in Argentina and in the world because there are so many brands that belong to Las Marías. And then you have that smaller one, if you will, Playadito, and all of a sudden they just take over the market. They come, take the first spot, get all the way on top, lift the trophy in 2025 with 4.9 million kilograms sold, 22.2% of the market share. And when we're looking at Playadito's strategy, they have competitive pricing, they have a broad distribution, and they grow in larger packs, often in kilogram packs, not in 500 gram packs, which helped drive the surge. Yeah, and as we said, Playadito is not just an Argentinian phenomenon. It has grown also all over the world. Yeah, in China is a major emerging buyer, where yerba mate is confused as an infusion and sold via a lot of online platforms. Australia, Germany, Spain, of course, United States, even the classic yerba is being distributed in the United States, sometimes even in your Dwayne Reed or in your Publix in Florida or wherever you go and get your groceries. Go and look. You might find Playadito there, either the red pack or the yellow one. And even though Syria has historically been the largest global importer of Argentinian yerba, as we've discovered in our previous episode. If you have not listened to it, go back. Not now. Finish this episode, it's okay. But then go back to the previous episode in which we talked about how yerba mate ended up in Syria, Lebanon, and in that part of the world. Very interesting, very fascinating. Tune in after this episode though. So this global distribution emphasizes how a simple cooperative model often seen as a small and local one, can compete internationally. And that has something to do with probably the quality, but not only with the quality, but also with the product itself and the flavors. Because you have, and now we're getting there finally. I'm always talking about the yellow packaging, the red packaging, and so on. We have Playadito Tradicional. That's the yellow one. It has a classic, balanced smoothness to the Yerba. It's a slightly sweet profile that goes down smooth. So that's the traditional one. I guess it's a more of a suave one. Then you have the Playadito Despalada. That has less stems, sin palo, for a fuller leaf experience. That makes it also a lot more intense and a little bit more bitter. And then you have the classic tea bags, the convenient tea bags for a quick infusion. But we are sticking to how Yerba is consumed traditionally in a mate gourd. Then you also have, and that's interesting, some infusion Playaditos. You have the lemon, verbena, cedron, mint, peperina, chamomile, or sage. These herb blends add distinctive aromas and softer flavor profiles that appeal to, I guess, the international consumers who enjoy the herbal teas more so. Let's summarize Playadito. What are the opinions on Playadito? They vary widely, although the quality is undisputed, I would say. The positive impressions are probably its smoothness, its balanced taste, because many people would probably say it's less bitter and more of an easy drink. It's made it ideal for longer sessions throughout the day. It's beginner friendly because it's milder. It makes it just a good choice for newcomers. But I would also highlight here that the newcomer friendly one is probably the Tradicional. I would not start with the Despalada because it's a little bit more intense. Unless you drink your 20 espressos every day, then you probably can go straight to the Despalada. And the quality, because you get a Playadito Yerba bag and you know what's in it, you know the quality, and that's the same throughout every single package, whether it's 500 grams, a kilo Despalada Tradicional. Doesn't matter, the quality is always there. But then you also have some critical voices that sometimes come up when you take your sip, and they say it's a little bit bland or mild. Some people might even say it's too soft compared to some bolder ones like Rosamonte or some of the Paraguayan varieties. And some people would even say the flavor washes quickly. And there might be some truth to it. The Despalada one, however, I would say does not. The traditional one, the Tradicional, might wash a little bit faster. So you drink it and then, after several pours, you might find it a little bit bland. That could be true. And then for real classic mate drinkers, for the hardcore ones, for the aficionados, they say it's not intense enough, and I give them that. That is very true. I don't think it is intense enough. If you go for the Tradicional, there is, in terms of traditional Yerba mate from Argentina, some other brands that you can go to. Talked about it, Rosamonte, maybe even Kraus, which is organic and even kosher. I always have to say this because it's fascinating. And if you want to go for the stronger one, the Despalada, it's not strong enough for a really intense one. However, it's always subjective, right? So the experiences may vary depending on what mood you're in, what your surrounding is like. Is it winter? Is it summer? What did you have to eat before? But overall, I would agree with, it's a rather mild brand. The flavor does not, sometimes does not make it to the finish line, and it's definitely on the milder side. Playadito. So what makes it special? To finish this on a positive note, the historic roots, they were born from immigrant farmers. Then you have the slow production with long aging. So they are really giving it enough time to let the flavors come out of the leaves, to give it depth. Then you have the global reach, so you can really get it from anywhere, from Corrientes to China and beyond. And that is really what Playadito is all about. Whether you love it a bit milder or a little bit stronger, Playadito has a place in, or should have a place in, your mate selection. Because its journey from a small cooperativa to the top selling brand in 2025 is as rich as the infusion itself. And let's face it, a brand that was a top seller in 2025 in an entire year cannot be that bad, right? Yes, Playadito is good quality. It's just a little bit milder. That was the Yerba of the Week review, Playadito from Argentina, founded by Uruguayan. I keep saying Uruguayan, by European immigrants from Germany, Ukraine, and Poland. The cooperativa was established on February 19, 1926. It's been a while. Playadito has been around for some time. But we've talked about Playadito, and I also said how some people might feel that it is a little bit of on the milder side. Let's move on to our second part of the show. Argentina's most beloved beverage, yerba mate, and its effects on your brain, and where the alertness comes from, and how it compares to caffeine in terms of intensity and what it does to your body. Because yerba mate is known for its energy kick. And that is not only because of the caffeine, there's some other things in there too that we're going to talk about. But what does it really do to your biochemistry? How does it work differently from coffee? Why is it known for being a drink that gives you energy without jitters, just a smooth energy that keeps going? And with that, I would say we'll start the second part and look at caffeine, because it's probably the first compound that comes to mind when you think about focus and alertness. Because chemically, caffeine is a xanthin alkaloid, a stimulant that interacts with your central nervous system. And the primary mechanism, it blocks adenosine receptors. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that builds up in your brain the longer you're awake. It signals your neurons to slow down, which makes you feel tired. By blocking these receptors, caffeine prevents that sleepy signal, letting dopamine and norepinephrine, the brain's alertness and motivation chemicals, shine through. And that's why a cup of coffee can make you feel awake and mentally sharp almost immediately. However, yerba mate is a little bit more complex. While it contains caffeine, it also contains theobromine and theophylline, two other xanthine alkaloids found in chocolate, for example, and in other teas. And these compounds have slightly different effects. So let's break it down. What does theobromine do? It's a milder stimulant that promotes alertness without, as I already said, the jitteriness of coffee. Sometimes coffee causes that, you may have experienced it if you've had a few espressos too many, then you start shaking and you can just feel it. You get a little bit uneasy and unrelaxed, and you're like, you can feel the energy, but you don't really know what to do with it. And then there is the theophylline, which helps relax the muscles and slightly open airways, which can increase oxygen flow. And this combination of compounds is why mate is often felt as a calm and more focused state when you drink it. It's sometimes called alert relaxation. So you're awake and attentive, but without that edginess, that anxious feeling some people get from coffee. And yerba isn't just about caffeine. Its leaves are rich in polyphenols, saponins, and other bioactive compounds. Polyphenols are powerful antioxidants that protect neurons from oxidative stress, a process that can impair focus and memory over time. Saponins, on the other hand, have anti-inflammatory properties and may support cardiovascular health. And why does it matter for focus? Because your brain needs optimal blood flow, reduced inflammation, and stable neurotransmitter activity to function at its peak. Yeah? And research has shown that regular mate consumption can lead to, and now listen to this, it can lead to improved cognitive function, attention, and memory. Although the effects vary by individual, it seems to modulate not just the wake-up pathway like caffeine, but also a long-term maintenance of neural health, which may enhance sustained attention. Whew, that's a lot, huh? So why not drink it then? Yeah, there's no reason why. Somosmateina.com. Get your yerba today. We have it all. We have it flavored, strong, smooth, soft, edgy, whatever you want. It's all there at somosmateina.com, or follow us for the latest news. On Instagram, somosmateina is our name there, of course. So yeah, that research has shown improved cognitive function, attention, and memory, and long-term maintenance of neuronal health, which may enhance sustained attention. And here is where things get really interesting, I would think. Both coffee and mate boost focus, but they do it a little bit differently to the brain. Coffee is a fast-acting stimulant. You feel the effect within 15 to 30 minutes because dopamine and norepinephrine spike and your alertness goes up. But the crash can hit you hard if you consume too much. And that's the difference to yerba mate, because yerba mate, with its combination of caffeine, theobromine, and polyphenols, produces a slower, smoother, increased in alertness. It's like coffee in a marathon suit. Long-lasting, steady, and gentle. And that's why neuroscientists have also observed that mate may influence acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter critical for memory and learning, while caffeine primarily blocks adenosine. Mate may help enhance your brain's attentional networks, making it ideal for tasks that require sustained focus like studying or creative work. So in short, that means coffee is quick and intense focus. Mate is calm and enduring focus. And having that said, I need a sip of my Playadito. Delicious. Delicious. Yeah, good mate in the morning, good mate in the evening, good mate around lunchtime. It doesn't really matter. Mate is always good. Yeah. And that was a little bit about the biochemical reactions in your body. But there's more to it, because the act of drinking mate also contributes to focus beyond the chemistry. The traditional ritual, preparing it, sharing it, it's just that mindful attention, the slow sipping, and the social connection that make it more appealing to a lot of people than coffee. So even before the compounds hit your bloodstream, the ritual itself primes your brain for focus. And this is a beautiful example of how culture, behavior, and neuroscience intertwine. And of course, we have to consider that not all brains respond the same way. Genetics, tolerance, and lifestyle matter. Some people have a different metabolism and process caffeine faster. Some process it slower, while others are a little bit more sensitive to it and others are not. By talking about that, what is the optimal dosage? The many studies suggest 300 to 500 milligrams of caffeine per day is safe for adults. The typical serving of mate has about 30 to 50 milligrams of caffeine per 150 milliliters, depending on the preparation. And that's roughly 1/3 of a coffee cup, right? But paired with theobromine and polyphenols, it delivers a sustained cognitive lift. Timing also matters, because drinking mate mid-morning or early afternoon can support focus during peak cognitive demand while avoiding interference with sleep. There's a 2015 study in Nutrients found that mate consumption improved mood, alertness, and memory recall compared to a placebo. And animal studies suggest mate's polyphenols protect neurons from oxidative stress. And comparisons with coffee indicates that mate induces less anxiety and jitteriness while maintaining a cognitive performance. Here you have it. There's a few studies that were taken on yerba mate, and it seems as mate is a healthier choice. Yerba mate, what can I tell you? You just take a sip, and remember, mate is not just a drink. It's a scientific cocktail of compounds, rituals, and brain-boosting benefits. It wakes you up, it calms you down, it helps your neurons fire up just the way they should. And that is the beauty about yerba mate. I think today we have learned a lot about the biochemical reactions in your brain when you drink mate or coffee. It's not magic, it's tea that comes from the plant Ilex paraguayensis that mainly grows in the northeastern part of Argentina, Paraguay, Brazil, a little bit in Uruguay too. Mate is not just healthy for the brain and for your body. It is also healthy for your social life. So take your mate gourd, go out there, take a sip and share it with someone you love. Spread the word. Mate is on the rise worldwide. Be an ambassador for mate. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else. Subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Somos Mateina, and visit our store, somosmateina.com, for the latest products. Get your yerbas, get your accessories, get your gourds. They're handmade in Argentina by experts. Real great craftsmanship. And with that, my dear friends, I say thank you. Unfortunately, today's episode is over, but don't you worry. We'll have another episode coming soon with a Yerba of the Week review again and some other news, some other interesting topics. And if you want to be on the show with me, reach out on Instagram or contact us on Somos Mateina and let me know what your mate story is. Share it with the world, spread the word, and don't forget, el café es para mortales, el mate para leyendas.